Okay, just like that, guys. Look at that. Crispy, sweet and sour sesame beef over here. Hi everybody, I'm Andrew, or you can call me YJ. Tonight I'll be showing you guys how to make the absolutely most delicious crispy sesame beef you've ever made before. If you follow my simple steps and procedures and follow along when I explain to you guys a little bit of tips and tricks, then you're gonna be amazed at what you make for your family and friends for dinner. So let's begin the recipe. Okay guys, let's begin. This recipe is very easy to make. So over here I've got 2 slices of rump steak over here. Look at that. This side of the meat has some fat on it that we can also use in the crispy beef. It'll be absolutely delicious. So I first just rinsed it and clean it off and just let the meat drain the water out. So first, it's very simple. We're going to get just get a millet. We're going to just give it a few bangs so it can get thinner. Once it's thinner, we can cut some slices out of it. So let's just bang the meat a bit. You can see this rump steak, the meat is very thick, so just make sure you bang it very thin, about maybe 5 millimeters. Because if the meat is too thick, you're not going to get that crispy beef that you're looking for. Because once you deep fry it, you'll end up with thick beef and that'll just be like sweet and sour beef or something. You'd rather just make that instead of this. So make sure you bang the meat very thinly. And when you bang the meat very thinly, the meat stretches out and then you can also cut, the strips will be way longer. Just think about it, once you coat it with the flour and you deep fry it, it'll come out very crispy. Okay, I'm also going to just flip it around and give it a few bangs. And I can see it's getting more thinner now. As you can see the meat, look at how wide the meat has become. Just check that out. Okay, now we can just cut it into long strips. Okay, because there's like some fatty parts, we can start by the fatty part over here because here's the longest. Let's just do this. Just cut it how you guys like it, but make sure it's very thin strips. About 1 centimeters width. Okay, so looking like this, about 1 centimeters width. Once you do that, you can just place it in a bowl over here for marination. So yeah, cut it about 1 centimeter. If you cut it about like 0.5 centimeters, it will be too thin because when you are marinating or coating it, it might snap. So just keep it at 1 centimeters. Because now you already banged the meat, it's nearly 0.5 centimeters over here, so it's pretty good. It won't just snap. But if you cut it at 0.5 centimeters, it will snap when you coat it. There you go. Make sure it's long strips, guys. You don't want those thin strips. Okay, now you're getting near this fatty part over here. Just go flip the meat and then just cut off that fat. So as you can see, this is the fatty part of the rump steak over here. So someone's gonna eat this entire fatty part over here. So yeah, you just keep on flipping the meat, making sure you get the longest strips ever. Now let's work on this big slice over here. You can see I'm not going to cut over here because this will be absolutely too long. So maybe just this long would be good. Okay guys, so I'm just going to cut the rest of this meat, and also I've got 1 more slice of rump steak here, and then I will show you guys my marination. Okay guys, let's marinate our beef strips over here. So first I'm just going to give it a good sprinkle of salt. We don't need to like add in so much flavor because we'll be coating this in a delicious sweet and tangy sauce later on after we deep fry them. Next, I'm gonna sprinkle some white pepper. Add in 2 teaspoons of sugar. Add in 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder. If you don't have chicken bouillon powder, you can add in half a teaspoon of MSG. Next, I'm just going to drizzle some oyster sauce. Drizzle some light soy sauce. Drizzle some sesame oil. And that's it. Now we're just going to mix this up. Give it a good mix so that all that spice and flavor can get into it. Guys, I usually like add in some like Chinese rice wine, but this time I'm not adding because I don't want a saucy batter over here. Because if this batter is too saucy, when you're coating this with the flour, it won't stick nicely. It will fall off. So I'm leaving out the Chinese rice wine. Give that a good mix. Once you give it a good mix, we can add in some cornstarch to thicken it up so that the sauces and spices can stick onto the meat. I'm going to add in 2 heaped teaspoons of cornstarch. The meat I'm using here feels like it's 1 kg of beef over here, rump beef. So yeah, let's just give that a good mix. And guys, when I'm coating these beef strips, I'll be using egg. So that's why I don't want a saucy batter. If your marinade over here is too saucy, once you crack in that egg, it won't be strong enough to stick onto the flour that we're coating this meat in. And then the beef won't be very crispy. You'll see I'm not squeezing the meat too much because the meat has been banged and it's very fragile now. So you don't want to squeeze the meat too hard. So yeah, give it a good mix. As you can see over here, there's no sauce, absolutely no sauce. So that's what we're looking for. If you really want that very crispy beef strips that we're looking for. Okay, so we're just going to let this marinate for 1 hour and then we can start to deep fry this. Okay guys, it's time to deep fry our beef. So over here I got some sunflower oil that I'm preheating now on high heat. Let's test the oil. Just using a chopstick. Okay, you can see it's starting to bubble up, which means the oil is hot enough. So let's tune the heat down to medium now. Okay guys, so here's my beef. It has been marinated overnight. So first we're just going to mix it up a little bit. You can see it's dry and it's not saucy or anything. So it marinated overnight, so it absorbed a lot of flavor in these pieces of meat over here. And that's what we want. And if guys, your marinade is very saucy, just get another bowl and take the meat out and get rid of that marinade. So now it's like this. We're going to crack in 1 egg. Okay guys, so I'm just going to crack in 1 egg. Crack in 1 egg. Okay, I got rid of the eggshells and now just mix this egg into this beef over here. Make sure each piece of beef has some of that egg, because this egg acts as a flour binder. You can see the procedure. We don't add the egg with the marinade because the egg won't become sticky anymore. So that's why we don't do that. We only do it when we're about to deep fry. And you can see I'm not like pre-coating the meat beforehand, or else it becomes like it forms too much crumbs and that, and then it'll fall off the beef, and that's not what we want. So yeah, just give it a good mix like that, and now it's all sticky. Now we can coat it with some bread flour. Hey guys, so over here I got some bread flour. If you don't have bread flour, use all-purpose flour, it's okay. So we're just going to grab a small handful here and then just lightly dust it first. Look at that. Okay, once you see it's dusted and coated nicely, then just give a little squeeze on the meat. Then it'll stick nicely onto the meat. Okay, now we can slowly dip it into our medium heat oil. Slowly layer it nicely. Look on your timer, this should cook around 5 minutes for beef, or until it's crispy. Just slowly layer it into the oil and don't move it around. Okay, if your oil is too hot, you should lower the temperature a bit. So that's what I'm doing because I see it's bubbling up a lot. Nice and hot. Wow. Just look at this, guys. Wow, the oil is very hot. That's why I'm not layering any more beef, because I see the oil is very hot. Should be almost ready. I say about 3 to 5 minutes, guys, because you can see this beef is cut into thin strips. And guys, I'm not doing no double fry, because you can see it's already cooked nicely. You can see the color turned very quickly, and you can hear from the oil. It's no more bubbling up like once we place it in, because a lot of the beef moisture has already escaped out of the meat, which shows that it's well cooked. Nice. And we don't need, and if you like do a double fry with the beef will just become very dry, guys, and you don't want that. Okay, looks like it should be ready. It's been in here for about 3 minutes. You can see it's also lifted up on the surface as well. Just look at that. Okay, I'm going to lift this out, because the more longer you leave it in here, the juiciness of the beef will escape and you become very dry meat here. Wow. Just look at that, guys. Very easy and simple to do. That's how you get crispy beef over here. We place it in another tin here. Hear that, guys. Hear the crispiness. Okay, let's do another batch. Now the oil should be cooled off a bit. If you place your beef in and it sinks down to the base of the oil, that means your oil is not hot, guys. And you should be seeing a little bubbling up while you are doing this. Well, that was the first batch. You can see the oil was like too hot. That's why you can see it turned color very fast. But luckily this is beef and not pork or any other kinds of meat, which require a longer cooking time. Okay, let's place in our second batch, and this time the heat should be right, and we should end up with some lightly golden crispy beef strips. Let's place this in. See, now the oil is not that bubbling up too much, which is good. Just layer it straight, because if you don't layer it straight, you won't end up with that long strip of beef. It'll be curled up and you don't want that. So I'm just using a small little pot to deep fry this. That's why I'm doing a few batches. If you're using a larger pot, you can like instantly make all of them, but I suggest you don't. Do it slowly. Then you end up with very delicious beef. As you can see, it's a fast process. Just takes a few minutes and then you get some crispy beef. Okay guys, I'm just going to show you this last batch, and then once everything's done, I'll show you guys the sweet and sour sauce recipe. Yes, once you place in the beef, you don't want to move it around. Just let it form its coating for about 1 minute before you can move it around and check on it. Okay, let's take a look. Nice. This is the golden color that we're looking for, guys. If you see your oil start to cool off a bit, just lift the heat up a little bit so it can heat up a bit, and then you can start your next batch. Okay, I'm going to tune up my heat a little bit. I can see the oil starting to cool off. Can you see, guys? None of the coating from this beef is falling off. If you follow my method correctly, you're gonna make the most delicious crispy beef ever, guys. Tonight I'm coating this beef with a sweet and sour sauce. You can make it tangy by adding in some chili sauce or Korean gochujang or any hot sauce you like. And then once we toss the beef in the sauce, and then in the end we're going to sprinkle it with some sesame seeds, and then this dish will become your delicious crispy sesame seed sweet and sour beef dish over here. I just love this kind of method of cutting the beef strip because you can see you get that crispy bite. If you cut this meat into like cubes, you'll end up with a crispy shell and a juicy inside. But when you're eating this dish, like the whole piece of meat, you want it to be crispy. You get that crunch while you're eating this dish, and that's what we want, guys. Okay, the meat is floating up. It should be ready. Been cooking about 3 to 4 minutes now. Wow, very crispy. Look at that. So easy, guys. Okay, guys, I showed you the 2 batches. Now I'm just going to complete them, and then we'll start tossing them in my sweet and sour sauce. Okay, guys, let me show you my simple sweet and sour sauce. So for this crispy beef, you don't want like so much sweet and sour sauce, because if it's too saucy, the crispiness of the beef will become soft. So you just need a little bit of sweet and sour sauce, just enough to coat the beef, the crispy beef. So over here I've got 1/3 of a cup over here. So first I'm just going to add in 1/3 of a cup of water. I'm going to add in 1/3 of a cup of white vinegar. I'm going to add in 1/3 of a cup of sugar. Over here I'm using brown sugar. I'm going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Next I'm going to add in some tomato sauce. Okay, add in 1/3 of a cup of tomato sauce. More or less of tomato sauce doesn't matter. If you like it more tomato flavor, pour in more tomato sauce. Okay, next for that kick, that spicy kick, you can use your own chili sauce, but I like using some Korean gochujang over here. Just add in 1 heaped teaspoon. Okay guys, so I'm going to preheat this, and then once everything's heated up, I'm going to pour in a little bit of cornstarch slurry to thicken up the sauce. We'll toss in the beef with and also the sesame seeds. So let's do that now. Okay guys, let's heat up our sauce over here. Make sure everything fuses up before you add in that cornstarch slurry. Okay guys, the sauce looks ready. Look at that. Now I'm just going to tune the heat up just a little bit to add in the cornstarch slurry. If your heat is too high, your sauce will dry up very quick, and you don't need to add in all your cornstarch slurry if you have the right consistency. So over here I got 1 teaspoon of cornstarch mixed with some water. So I'll slowly add in a bit at a time, just to see if I have the right sauce consistency for the amount of crispy beef that I made. Okay. Once you add in the cornstarch slurry, keep on stirring it around, or else it will form clumps in your sauce. So I wanted a very thick kind of tangy sweet and sour sauce over here. Don't just like pour everything in at one time, guys, because once you do that, I guarantee you you're gonna get some clumps in your sauce. And also, guys, don't be like other YouTubers, like making the sauce and adding in cornstarch and mixing it all up and then adding it into the wok to cook. You're gonna end up with bad sauce. The sauces and the cornstarch has to be separate, guys. You can't combine the both. Okay, this consistency looks good. Wow, nice. I'm not going to add in more cornstarch, or maybe I should. Let's just add in all of it. There you go. So it's a whole teaspoon that I'm using here. Nice. Now it's a very sticky, gooey sauce that I'm looking at. It's going to be so tangy, spicy with that Korean gochujang. Nice. Look at that. You see, guys? Look at that. When I'm swiping up, can you see like a river? That's what you're looking for, that kind of thickness. You don't want it too saucy. You need it the right consistency. Okay, now it's right. You don't want to tune up the heat too much. We're going to dump in our crispy beef. So here's our crispy beef. Just look at how beautiful that looks. Crispy. Let's toss that in. Let's toss it. Let's toss the crispy beef in the sauce. Nice. And make sure the heat is on low, guys, because you must remember this is a cornstarch sauce over here, sweet and sour sauce, and the sauce is keep on dehydrating because of the cornstarch. Okay, wow. Make sure it's nicely coated first before you add in the sesame seeds. Nice. And guys, the sesame seeds, you must have like roasted sesame seeds. You can't just go to the store in the Chinese supermarket, buy those seeds and just sprinkle it. Those seeds you have to like cook it on low heat. You see, guys, when you add in the right consistency of sauce, the beef over here, it keeps its crispiness, its crispy coating around it. So I tune the heat to the lowest now. Now we can sprinkle in a good handful of sesame seeds. So over here I've got some black and white sesame seeds here. Nice. Wow. Just look at that. Now, give it a little toss. Okay, just like that. Switch off the flame and then we can plate it. Plate this. Wow, look at that. Okay, let's place it nicely because we're going to sprinkle more sesame seeds on top of it. Okay, here comes the magic, guys. Wow, this is gonna give it that extra sesame crunch over here. Everyone loves the extra sesame crunch pieces over here, so make sure each piece has that good sesame here. Okay, just like that, guys. Look at that. Crispy sweet and sour sesame beef over here. Ooh, let's check that out. Wow. Guys, if you like this recipe, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay guys, enough talking. Let's do a taste test. Hi everybody. This is my delicious crispy beef over here. Look at that. Look how beautiful that looks, guys. Wow. Wish I could flip it more here so I can show you guys. Wow. Check at that. Damn, when you smell it, you smell that sweet and sour sauce with that tangy gochujang. Just give this a taste. So quick and easy to make. Let's find the one with a good sesame coating. Let's check that out. Let's check that out. Wow. Let's grab a bite. Once it enters your mouth, that nice sweet and tangy sauce coating all over this crispy beef over here. You're gonna have a lot of bowls of rice with this, guys. Damn. Okay, guys. As I showed you, very quick and easy to make. If your marinated beef you can't make it the next day, you can at least marinate for 2 days or so. Then you can even make this dish again. So very quick and easy to make. Hope you guys liked it. Until next time, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that post notification. Thanks guys for watching.